Hello. This is our game. It's called I Was Thrown into a Messed Up Labyrinth by My Landlord to Pay Off My Rent. Also, I can use the Force, the game. Also called Labby Force for short. This game is a combination of a sliding tile puzzle and a labyrinth. In this game, the player controls a character that travels inside a labyrinth. The player can only walk on the pathways inside of the tiles. The labyrinth is also fully modifiable, but you can only make moves where you switch one tile with the empty slot. Upon launch, you are put into the main menu. Here, you can choose to either play the tutorial, start from level 1, or choose a level with a simple number input. All menus in this game are safeguarded to only accept valid inputs. Now, to explain the meat of the game, my friend here will choose Start Game.
Here, there are three main components: the board, which contains tiles, the tiles which contain the player, and the player itself. Due to its inherently Russian doll-like structure, this program uses object-oriented programming, which is perfect for this occasion. When you choose Start Game, it initializes a new game. The program does this by referring to a JSON file called maps.json and reads the specified level, which in this case is level 1. This is the board, which is a list of lists showing the tiles inside of the board. Each tile is represented by the cardinal directions in which it opens up, which can be any combination of north, south, east, and west, as well as X, which is a tile with no openings, and O, which represents the empty slot in the board. Below is the color of each tile, and below that in order are the number of diamonds on the map, the position of the tile the player will spawn in, the position of the exit, and the size of the map. The code for the board movement does not actually track where every tile is, except at the time of initialization. The code only tracks the position of the hole. From the perspective of the code, we are actually just moving the hole and replacing the previous position of the hole with the tile it moved into and updating their coordinates accordingly. Of course, there are checks to make sure the player does not try to slide the hole into the wall. The player is represented by a four-dimensional coordinate system: the X and Y coordinate of the tile the player is in, as well as the X and Y coordinate of the player relative to the tile the player is in. The player can now walk into walls, contained on other tiles, and can now walk into the walls of the map unless it is an exit. Other than that, the player can take diamonds by walking on them. If we had to say the part of the program we are most proud of, it will be the renderer. How do we go from this cardinal direction list to this? Well, let me explain. First, each tile is parsed through a dictionary to turn it into this numerical 3x3 list. Each number in the list represents a 2-character long string of either UTF-8 block characters or emojis. Then finally, those characters are given an ANSI code based on the list below it in the JSON file. And then, that series of colored block characters and emojis are printed with walls around them. This isn't the exact process of the drawboard function due to the 3x3 tiles having to be printed line by line, but this video would be more than 5 minutes long otherwise. Upon finishing a level, the player is brought to a level end screen. Here, the player will be given 1 to 3 stars depending on the percentage of the diamonds taken by the player. The player also gets a number score, which is calculated based on the diamonds taken and the number of tile moves. They are then given the option to either retry the level, go to the next level if there is any next level, or quit to the main menu.
That's the gist of the game. Now, we will explain the other options on the main menu. Level select is very straightforward. When you enter, you can choose which level you want to play, and then you will be brought to that level. That's it. The tutorial is a lot more complex. When you enter, you will be greeted by a wizard who will guide you through the basic concepts of the game. Since the tutorial is both restrictive and free, it is done in steps. There are 5 different types of steps. The first is text, where the guide just talks and the player can't do anything but listen. Second is one move limited, which, as the name suggests, only allows a limited set of moves and only takes one move before going to the next step. The third is diamonds, which allows the player to roam freely and doesn't go to the next step until the player has reached a certain amount of diamonds. Fourth is free, which is like talk, but the player can move around. This is only used during the final monologue, where the guide explains some more difficult concepts. These steps are classified in a different JSON file. And since the tutorial is just a child class of the game class, it also has a map in the same format as the normal game map. That's all. Thank you.